Well, many of you know I had hip surgery in October, and while I was at physical therapy, I came across a young lady who not only inspired me, but a whole lot of other people as well. And from the moment I met her, I knew we had to have her on the show. Take a look.
My name is Dubsky. I'm a registered nurse, and from a young age I was genuinely concerned about people, and I had a pretty caring attitude. My sister wanted to be a nurse when we were younger, and I considered her one of my role models. I also always had a desire to really try to understand different cultures. So I decided to go to Africa because it was an art class I was going to take out there 2.5 weeks. Before I left, I decided not to take prophylactic medication for several reasons. While I was there, I felt a bite, didn't see the mosquito, wasn't sure if it was a mosquito. I went to the emergency room and I was quickly diagnosed with malaria, and then within 36 hours I was unable to breathe and was transferred to an ICU. And I woke up about a month later and my parents had informed me that my arms and legs were amputated. I was unhappy that my parents decided to save my life. I just didn't understand. I didn't think I was going to have a good quality of life. Initially, there was a girl named Erica who came to visit me at the hospital, and she was also a quadruple amputee. So I saw her, and she was walking and using all of her prosthetics on every limb, and going back to school as an occupational therapist. So I saw that I was maybe at some point going to be able to function independently. Right now I am a student. I'm a PhD student at University of Illinois, and I'm getting a PhD in nursing. And my goal is to walk one day, so I'm working out a few days a week to reach that goal. A lot of people judge based upon physical appearance. So I know that people who are around me and who love me and care about me obviously like me for who I am inside, not who I am outside.
Dawn Dubsky, thanks for being here. It's great to see you.
It's nice to see you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I always see Dawn at physical therapy, and I mean that. You've inspired me so much. I knew I had to sit down with you, and I wanted to speak with you. And let's go back. 4 years ago, you were 32 years old. What made you say, I want to travel to Africa? Was that something that you always wanted to do?
Well, I was in fashion design school, and there was a course being offered to go to Africa, and I've always wanted to go to Africa. Just to sort of understand racism from like a real perspective and get a different sort of history on Africa and maybe why we sort of had this, racism issue in the Chicago or even the United States. So it was kind of like just a learning experience for me.
Sure, you traveled there with the group, life experience, met some new people. How long were you there before you contracted malaria?
Well, I was there for 2.5 weeks, and I am not certain, but I think I had a bite towards the end of my trip on the back of my leg, and I developed symptoms when I came back to the U.S.
And what were those symptoms?
Well, it was sort of like a flu-like symptom, and then fever. And so when I had the initial fever, I was quite concerned. I thought, wow, I wonder if maybe I contracted malaria. So that morning, I went to the ER, and I notified the ER people that, I just got back from Africa, I didn't take the prophylactic medication, and I could possibly have malaria. And so I was diagnosed right away, and then it just was very fast.
Now, you said that you didn't take the prophylactic medication for several reasons. What was the hesitation for you?
Well, I was a little concerned about the side effects, and, just from reading, I thought it was treatable. I didn't really ever envision sort of what happened to me. I never thought I would lose my limbs. I thought I could get treatment and I would be okay, worst case scenario.
Right. So you go into the ER. You're in a coma for a month?
Yeah, it was about a month. I was sedated, unconscious, intubated.
And then you wake up, and I can't imagine what went through your mind when you realized your limbs were gone. Were you angry? Were you shocked? What were the thoughts?
Well, I think one of the first questions I asked was, can I have children? Because that was something like I've always wanted to do. So I thought if that was taken away from me, why would I continue? Why would I want to live? So I sort of had a different perspective too. Because I'm a nurse and I see people live with such hard lives, just suffering, and I just always thought, gosh, I hope I don't ever have to go through something like this, and if I do, I hope it doesn't last long. So I was a little bit surprised, when I woke up. I I didn't think maybe my life should have been saved. Maybe I should have been let go.
And you actually asked your parents that, right?
Yeah.
Why did you let me live?
Yeah, why did you decide to save my life? And, I'm sure that's a hard question for any parent coming from their child. So, it took just a while to register, but I was also so sick at the time that it was hard to even really focus beyond what was going to even happen after I was out of the hospital.
Right. And you were dating somebody at this time, right?
Yes, my boyfriend at the time, his name was Scott, and yeah, we continued to date for quite a while after I, was discharged from IRC, and we remained friends, but it was just a hard, challenging period in both our lives. I mean, I think we both handled it well, and I love him for doing what he did for me, so.
Now, did you find out if you can have children?
I don't know. Are you interested?
Don, this is what I love about Don. Sense of humor, upbeat. Tell me, how long did it take before you got your sense of humor back and you got your personality back and you stopped playing the what if I wouldn't have taken the trip game and what if I would have taken the medication? When did you get past that?
I think I started the nonprofit that I have. It's called America Against Malaria, and it just kind of refocused my energy because I was so fixated on walking and I wasn't succeeding, and I just kept sort of feeling negative because I wasn't being successful at something I thought I was going to be able to accomplish right away. So I met different people from, like the United Nations and Nothing But Nets, and they just sort of inspired me to say, you know what, get involved and help fight malaria. So that was the first step, and then I returned back to work at Children's Memorial back in February 2 years ago, and I'm a case manager there, and it just got me out of the house and sort of back en route, and it's been okay. It's interesting because it's like relearning life. I'm relearning to do everything.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk a lot more about what you are doing with your foundation, getting your PhD, and Children's Memorial when we come back. More with Don straight ahead. We are back with Don Dubsky. In 2008, she contracted malaria while on a trip to Africa. She had to have both parts of her arms and legs amputated. We've been talking with Don, and what's amazing about you, Don, not only is your will, but your independence. You live alone.
Yeah, I bought a place about a year ago, and so I've been living alone, and I've always liked to live alone, so that's not new for me, but yeah, everything, I have someone who comes to the house 3 days a week just to help me get ready in the mornings and clean and do laundry and stuff, but otherwise, yeah, I'm pretty much doing everything on my own. And
getting your PhD in nursing. What do you want to do with your doctorate?
Well, right now I'm taking disability studies courses, so I'm trying to become more of a disability advocate and hopefully involve more students with disabilities in nursing programs in the U.S.
Right. What have you learned about people with disabilities? Because you've been on both sides of the fence, so you know how people treat people, that are able-bodied and people that have disabilities.
Right. I mean, I think a lot of people are very helpful, and, they make comments like, wow, I'm inspired that you're doing what you're doing. I mean, it's just a different perspective, and I really appreciate it, and I think I understand just humanity even more because what I've gone through. So I'm more sympathetic and just more open-minded.
Right. Well, you work at Children's Memorial, as you mentioned. Is it difficult to do your job with disabilities?
No, they were very accommodating, and I'm mostly on the computer for my work. And now that we're moving to the new hospital, it might be a little bit easier for me to navigate because every room is single. Right now they have double rooms, and sometimes it's hard with my chair. But no, I mean, there's not a lot of accommodations that you have to make, and I think that's sometimes scares employers because they're thinking they have to invest money. But really, I'm very fast at work, and like I say, I'm faster than a lot of the other people. So I type with one finger and I'm good, and my colleagues are awesome, and they help me, and they've made it a very easy transition, and I'm really happy to be back and see kids. Like, the best reaction is kids' reactions because they just say it how it is, like, what happened to you. And it's funny because my nephew, he's 4, and literally he just came up to me the other day and just said, you know what, I'm just so sorry that you had to lose your hands and feet. Like, it's just so awesome to hear that from such a young child, to be just more aware. Right.
Now, when I see you at physical therapy, I see you walking, so that's a process that still takes time?
Yeah, just because I've been in the chair for so long, I just have to build up my strength and my balance, and I think my back is probably, just a little bit corks just from sitting in the chair so long. So it's just going to take time. I mean, I thought it was going to be a lot easier. I've been a marathon runner, and I've always been athletic, so I don't think it's the physical part of it. It's just the balance. And I've had a couple falls that have scared me, and my bones are pretty weak from the sepsis and stuff. So it's just, I will walk. It's just it's taking a little bit longer than I anticipated.
Right. And what about a marathon again?
I don't know.
You see it. You
Maybe
see people
like a Viking one.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I also want to mention your foundation that you started, America Against Malaria, and tell us about that.
Right, I'm raising funds, and I intend on giving the money back to Ghana, Africa, where I contracted the malaria. I went to Ghana with a woman and a man who've opened two educational schools out there. So I'd like to give the funds to spend on nets and educational tools for children.
Well, I got to say, Don, thank you so much for being here. You know, my injury was so minuscule compared to you, but you inspired me so much because there was 2 weeks where I couldn't get in and out of bed by myself. I was on crutches for 2 months, and I thought about you. Honestly, when I'm laying in my bed, frustrated, I was like, if Don can do this and do it with a smile, I'm going to get through this, and I want to say thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Don Dubsky. We'll be right back.